Folks, I know we are in the last days. I am convinced that the days are getting darker, just like the Bible predicted they would. And I am watching some insanity, including a completely new arms race taking place in the Middle East. Now, I've said this before and I'll say this again. I'm not a date setter. But I know that we are in a season right now where the stage is being set for the things that we read are going to happen in the Bible according to what God's word says in the future. So, folks, we've got to pay attention. This is so critically important. Look at this. I'm reading an article from Israel Hayom that says, projectile fired from Lebanon near contested village, IDF strikes back. By the way, that's the Israeli Defense Force. So understand what's going on here. I'm going to read this to you. This is such an insane story when you think about it because of the geopolitics behind it. I want you guys to get this, okay? Look at this. It says at least 2 projectiles were fired from southern Lebanon. Folks, southern Lebanon, okay? We're not talking about northern Lebanon. That matters, okay? I'll explain that in just a second. They're fired from southern Lebanon toward Israel on Thursday. 3 security sources told Reuters about this on that same day. Lebanese media also reported the incident, and the Hezbollah-linked Al-Manar said there were 2 explosions in the area of Jahar, a village that lies on the border between the 2 countries. About an hour later, Israeli forces struck the area of Lebanon from which the cross-border launch was carried out, and the military actually told us this. This was disclosed to us by the IDF, by the way. And the statement said a projectile was fired earlier from within Lebanon, had exploded within Israeli territory. A previous statement by the military had said that there were no preliminary findings of any unusual events on Israel's side of the border, and then Israeli officials believe that the projectile was likely to have been a mortar. Now, I'm not going to get into the crazy media game that's actually going on right now because it is very spiritual. And the games that people are playing with respect to trying to create a picture that isn't real or trying to create a picture that is satanically inspired is a whole other story for us to get into. But what is becoming very interesting here is you are beginning to see Lebanon in the time of one of its worst challenges it has ever faced economically, beginning to create a new war machine potentially against Israel, not even by Beirut's actions, but by the actions of organizations like Hezbollah. And the crazy thing about that is the Israeli Defense Force is not going to allow a precedent to be set, and they are attacking back. Now, the thing that is very interesting about all of this is you would never see the IDF choose to attack back unilaterally unless there was some kind of a conversation going on with some counterparts that are within the Syrian territory. Yes, dare I say Russia? Folks, we are looking at a conglomerate of nations that are beginning to develop a relationship with one another that is being close-knit. Isn't it amazing how Lebanon is being very quiet about what is actually happening? Not a single word from Beirut. No one is saying anything. Yet at the same time, you are beginning to get the United Nations flapping their mouths, right, as they always do, speaking on behalf of known terrorist organizations, condemning the actions of the Israeli Defense Force, while many of the Arab nations that are beginning to surround Israel are becoming quiet because they want to enter into a normalization agreement that will provide economic stability. And the race continues on. Folks, let me remind you, Ezekiel 38 says that when all of these things happen, all these nations involved are going to be friends. And then when Russia turns their back on Israel and attacks Israel for the loot that Israel has, there will be nations that will speak up and condemn the action. Nations that are close to Russia and that conglomerate of nations that attack. And yet what happens is Israel will not be able to defend itself, but God, according to Ezekiel 39, will eventually do so. All of the geopolitics that you are watching form right now speak to every single one of these topics. Folks, this is unbelievable. We have not seen things like this happen ever. And it's not like you can say, well, James, we have seen all kinds of things happen with Lebanon and Israel and all of these other organizations. Yeah, you're right. But we've never seen it happen as it's being as choreographed as it is right now with the surrounding nations and the world community watching. It's crazy. It's crazy, but understand, Christ can come at any moment. Let's keep our eyes open, folks. Keep your head up. We are running out of time. God bless you.